Your attention, masters, mistresses. All systems functional for the Everything Geek podcast.
Hey, this is Rich McDonald, and I play Commander David Mason on Call of Duty Black Ops 2. And you're listening to Everything Geek podcast.
Hey, it's James Arnold Taylor, the voice of Obi-Wan Kenobi and Master Plo Koon in Star Wars The Clone Wars, and you're listening to Everything Geek, the podcast.
Hey, it's Leif Ganfert. I played Uncle Ben's killer in The Amazing Spider-Man, and you're listening to the Everything Geek podcast.
Hello, I'm Simon Fisherbecker. You probably know me better as Dorian Moldovar from Doctor Who, or the Fat Friar from Harry Potter. And this is Everything Geek podcast.
Face it, Tiger. You just hit the jackpot with the Everything Geek podcast.
You're listening to the Everything Geek podcast, bringing you interviews from your favorite films and TV shows every week, and all of the latest news. Here's your host, Rory Williamson.
Hello everyone, you're listening to the Everything Geek podcast. I'm your host Rory, and joining me today is a very special guest. We have actress Ida Marie Nielsen, who currently plays Margrethe in Vikings. How are you today?
Yes, thank you. I'm great. Thanks.
You're very welcome. It's a pleasure to have you on the show today.
It's a pleasure to be interviewed.
So, getting right into the questions, Ida. First of all, for some of our listeners who may not be familiar with your background, can you tell us how you originally got into acting?
Yes. Well, as a kid, I grew up in England with my mom and dad, and my dad was a football player and my mom was a designer. I loved to perform. I would always put up performances for the two of them, and if they had friends over, I'd always make them watch me do a choreography of a dance or something from a movie. I did ballet when I was younger, and then I started theater acting around 9 years old, and then. Yeah, I got my first job. It was in Denmark on a TV series. It was playing one of the main characters' daughters, and it was for 3 seasons. I was 10 years, and it was just crazy fun. I was so young, and I was a kid on a show, and they take so good care of kids. So it was just this hobby that was, really fun.
That's really great, and like a lot of people in the acting industry, you as you mentioned, you could tell it was what you wanted to be from a very young age.
Yes, well, it was, I never really decided, like, now I want to be an actress. It was more that I enjoyed it, and then I got that job. It was my second audition ever to do, a TV commercial, but it was my second audition ever, and I got it. And after that, I did some small things, short films, but I went to school. I did high school, and focused a lot on that. And then I was lucky to get Vikings after high school, but it's always been something I really enjoyed and loved doing, and putting a lot of hours into acting. So I did know that at some point I would do everything to pursue it. So that's what I'm doing now.
Yeah, definitely. That's really impressive, getting a TV role on just your second audition ever. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I had my cousins had done a lot of auditions and stuff before, and they told me, Ida, don't get overexcited because it's a really hard business, and you have to try many times before you succeed. And I do totally agree, but it was really funny, or it was just really great for me to get the second audition and be like, oh, yeah, that was really hard.
Definitely. Now, moving on to Vikings, first of all, how were you originally cast as Margrethe in Vikings?
I'm with an agency in Denmark called Panorama, and they send me loads of self-tapes for different international movies and TV series, and they got me the self-tape for Vikings as Margrethe. And I did the self-tape, and then I was told that I looked too old, that they liked it, but I looked old for the part. And in the description it said like early 20s, and I was 19 at the time. So we wouldn't take no for an answer. I did the self-tape again with no makeup, and I put on a kind of cute top and put my hair up and tried to look younger. And then, there was a long process of waiting, and it was maybe 2-3 weeks. And then because I think they had me in like the last 10 and then the last 5, and then they had an eye on some other girl, but it ended with me and one other girl traveling to Dublin for a last screen test. And it was pretty crazy because I arrived a Wednesday for the screen test, did that, and then the day after, in the evening, my agent called to say that I got the job, and that I already had to meet with the director the day after and then start filming Monday and all week. So I got the part, and then it all just started, and it was crazy, but I was very happy.
That's great. That is really interesting. It's such an interesting process, and
it all happened very fast because for them they weren't sure what they wanted, which type they wanted to go with. So everything was really last minute. I had to learn the scripts during the weekend, and but it was I learned a lot from it.
Yeah, definitely. It must be funny to look back on it though, considering that originally you were told you were too old for the part when you were 19. Now, yeah. I understand that because I look older than my age. Not that I'm going to disclose my age, but you know, it must be a little bit insulting, but still funny to think back on that because now you've got the role.
Yeah. Well, I guess if I was a bit older, it would be really insulting, but but it was just a bit funny because I just turned 19. So yeah, luckily they took me in.
Yeah, definitely. It was definitely the cute top that did it.
Yeah, I'm sure it was, and the braid, and yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah, it's such an interesting story, though. Were you a fan of the show before being cast in it?
Well, I had a lot of friends that had watched the show and recommended that I watch it. I watch so many TV shows, too many, and I can't find my way around anymore. So they recommended it, and I said that I would see it, but I kept pushing it off, like, I'll do it next week. It'll be fine. It's just some Vikings running around fighting. Yeah. And then then I got the self-tape, and I thought, I should so have started watching this series a couple weeks ago, because then I'd be in the whole mood of it and the dialogue and stuff. So I started watching it immediately, and I loved it. And it wasn't just a bunch of Vikings fighting. Well, most of it, but also a lot of drama, family drama. Yeah.
Definitely. And how would you describe the experience stepping onto the set of the show for the first time?
Oh, it was really overwhelming. I've never worked on a production that scale, and it was great that it all started with me and some scripts in a hotel room. And then when I got to work, they put me in my costume, makeup, and hair. And then stepping onto the stage, it was just incredible entering this Viking era. And everything just came together. Yeah.
Definitely.
But it was very nerve-wracking as well.
Yeah, I can imagine.
In a good way. I was nervous, excited, nervous.
Yeah, sometimes it's good to be a little bit nervous because it shows how much you care really about it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because it was a big deal, and I wanted to do it well. So, yeah.
And how would you describe your experience working with the cast and crew of the show so far?
I can only say that it's been so great. It's been really giving. The Irish people are so nice and so friendly. It's just been great. I've been here for a year, and I feel like I've grown so much as an actress and a person. Just being in another country and this huge production with so many people and so many different characters, and it's been really giving and very talented people I've been working with, and and I must say that there are a lot of challenges, and I've been away from home, I've been alone. Everything is very last minute in this business, but it's good. You get used to it, and I wouldn't have it any other way, because it really just makes you, what would you say, pushes you to do your best under these extreme circumstances. Like, really, there's pressure on you, but it's a good thing, I'd say. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. It can only help to, make you a better actress, going through those challenges.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, there are so many challenges, but it's what you make of it, and you get a script the day before, I've had many days, the schedule's changed, and then next day I have to do this huge scene, and I thought I wasn't going to do it in like a week or so. So then you're like, oh, I have 5 hours to make this scene really good. But you do it, and I'd say it makes you better in many ways.
Definitely. And you must be able to see into the future. I'm sure that's the only way you know that my next question was going to be on the biggest challenges. Maybe you can see into the future.
Yeah, maybe. Well, not on this set. No. I always try to foresee, and I think then, because I fly back and forth, and then I check the schedule, and I may be working a couple days, so I think, okay, I'm just going to pack for a couple days. Then I come over here, and they change the schedule again, and I'm like, oh, damn, I haven't packed enough. So it's, I definitely can't see into the future, but it's just a great job. So you take everything in, and you don't complain or I don't complain because I'm very lucky.
Definitely. And do you have any funny or memorable behind-the-scenes memories from Vikings or any other project you've worked on that you would like to share? Could be anything, like an actor messing up a line, just, pranks being pulled on people, anything like that.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, there's a lot of pranking. Travis is a real prankster, and now all the boys playing Ragnar's sons, they love pranking each other, love throwing water at each other when they least expect it, and we had a bunch of different prosthetics, like hands and heads, and because they have all the battles. And then I was just sitting peacefully in my cast chair, and something is like poking my chin, like kind of caressing my chin, and I look around, and it's the guys with a prosthetic hand, really gross prosthetic hands, trying to trick me. And it's a lot of that all the time. But I had like my first day on set, and it was with all the boys. We were doing a dinner scene. It's in the first episode, but we in the scene I'm pouring ale to most of them, and one of the takes I accidentally knock over Alex, who plays Ivar's glass, and water just spills everywhere. And I was very embarrassed because it was mistakes are okay. We all make mistakes and mess with lines. So I know that it was okay, but it was my first day, and I was really trying to keep everything together. And then that water spilled everywhere, and they didn't say cut. They went on with the scene, and it was a very serious scene. So I started kind of getting the water away and cleaning it up, and then I just sat down and looked really embarrassed because I was. They didn't use the take, but yeah.
It's really interesting. Well, accidents do happen even on first days.
Yes, very clumsy, and it's also interesting that they didn't say cut, because they thought that, you know, I'd really been keeping myself together maybe too much. So it was a good thing that I messed up, because, like, okay, Ida, breathe. It's fine.
Yeah, definitely. And which role in your career, of the roles you've had so far, have you found to be the most challenging so far, and why?
Well, my role in Vikings is one of the biggest I've done, Margrethe. So I would say she's been the most challenging. It's a TV show, and you get the scripts along the way, so you don't really know what's going to happen. It's not like in a movie when you get the script and you have the start and the finish. On the show, you get the scripts a couple weeks before shooting the next episodes, so you're not really sure what is next, and you have to consider that when you're preparing for a character. And it's I can't say too much because I don't want to spoil anything. I'm not allowed to spoil anything. But Margrethe is a very interesting character. She goes through a lot, so I've really had to find what drives her, and what she wants in life, and how she's trying to get there, and then hopefully it will all come together.
Definitely, I'll be looking forward to seeing how it all unfolds. That's all of my questions for you, Ida. It's been a pleasure talking to you on the podcast.
Yeah. Good. My pleasure. It's
Hopefully
my pleasure.
I can talk to you again at some point.
Yes. Of course.
Great, so I'll talk to you again soon. Thanks again for joining us, and take care. Bye.
Yes, thank you.
Bye.
Take care. Bye.
Vikings airs Wednesdays at 9, 8 Central, so make sure to check out our podcast links, check out our website.everythinggeekpodcast.com/EGP, check out our Facebook page, www.facebook.com/everythinggeekpodcast, check out our YouTube channel, www.youtube.com/user/everythinggeekcast. Check us out on Twitter, twitter.com/everythinggeekp. Check us out on Instagram, instagram.com/official Everything Geek Podcast. Check out our Mixcloud profile, www.mixcloud.com/everythinggeekpodcast. Email us at the following email, everythinggeekpodcast@gmail.com. Check out our companion podcast, Everything Geek Comiccast, www.facebook.com/everythinggeekcomiccast. Make sure to check out the hosts' YouTube channels. Mine is www.youtube.com/user/SeptusDestroyers. Check out Ida Marie Nielsen on Instagram, www.instagram.com/Ida Marie Nielsen, and check out channel 1138 where we broadcast live from, www.channel1138.com. Geeks out, everyone.
Well, the biggest challenge working on The Flash originally was trying to get a handle on, the actors talk about motivation a lot, what's motivating a character.
And I think and the bigger, broader scope is to start something, start a problem between the Avengers that would create, mayhem. And